When hope is gone, undo this lock and send me forth on a moonlit walk. Release restraint level 0. Hey kids, wanna see a dead body?
Hi guys, this is the Void of the Ravenclaw. Welcome back to another fanfiction story. If you like this type of content, smash the like button and subscribe for future videos and updates that I do post on my community tab frequently. If you want access to any of my early content, check out the Discord. This is the bargain between an evil god and a villain, part 15. Let's continue where we last left off in our story. Izuku and Empress were continuing their discussion while eating dinner. Empress stared at her guest for a brief second. So, what's your next appearance? I have no doubt you have plans. That's a very good question. I've been out of the public eye for far too long. A appearance will be required soon, but nothing's struck my fancy yet. You could always rob a bank. I'm a villain, not a low-level crook. But with that said, I'm not entirely against the idea. That's perfect because I'm arranging such a activity. Are you interested? Very interested. Please, Empress, tell me more. Well, you see, my second in command, Leon, is organizing a team to hit one of the largest federal banks. And he needs an extra body for the team. And there's a spot open for you if you want it. Grimm cackled. Very well. I'm not against experiencing new ways to commit crime. And you can't twist my arm to cause some trouble. I'm in. I have no doubt me and Leon will get along swimmingly. Empress could only laugh. She knows Leon doesn't like most people, and having Grimm part of his bank robbery team or his heist will keep him on his toes. Good. After you get the money and it's all counted for and stored in a proper container, I'll let you know the minor details. After all, he could always use some extra muscle in case a hero crushed the party. And if this heist goes well, you'll find yourself having a good amount of money. It didn't take long for them to get done counting the money and placing in 2 briefcases filled with $100 bills. When everything was said and done, he made his leave by going through a shadow portal back to his home base of operation and placed his money in his office behind the false wall. He'll count it later. He trusts the amount is adequate, but it's best for him to count the money himself. The next few days, he visits Leon often to work out the details of the heist. Breaking in and robbing the largest federal bank is not an easy task. Izuku is examining the blueprints of the building. What do you think, Grimm? This is quite a heist you're trying to perform. Security is top-notch. Camera sensors, heavy armed security, not including the turrets they have scattered all around the bank in the more sensitive areas that the public eye is not privy to. And according to intel I managed to pick up, all of their security force is part of a well-known security firm that mostly operate in the US. Every member of this security staff has military background and good reviews. But I've come to learn, no matter how good your security is, how well armed your people are, there's always a weakness that can be exploited. How big of a team's going in? Not too big. Having too many people will complicate things. And you're only one that's not part of the heist, is not part of the gang. Having too many outside people causes problems. And considering how much money we'll be making because of you, I don't think that's going to be an issue. Good. So is it true this is your first bank robbery? Pretty much. I'm fairly new to this whole lifestyle. I've committed crimes on my own, now and then. But nothing like this, nothing like a bank robbery. It's going to be too much of a difference. I've always been interested in robbing a bank. See it on the movies all the time, so might as well get off the bucket, mark it off the bucket list. Let's take a break for now, as Leon tosses Graham a bottle of water. Without no hesitation or looking at Leon, he caught the bottle of water in his hand and twisted the lid and took a swig of the clear liquid of H2O. But I gotta admit, your cork is impressive. It's nothing too special. Give a bone cork yourself. I'm not oblivious. My bone cork is not as advanced as yours. It's useful, not as useful and versatile as yours. I gotta admit, I haven't encountered a lot of people with similar quirks such as ours. You're the only one that I've come across with any type of bone manipulation quirk. Understandable, it's not a very common type of quirk, like super strength or telekinesis. Quirks like that are a dime a dozen. And the way your abilities work, completely different than mine. It seems like you can make bone constructs while I am limited on what I can make with my bone quirk. You just go look at the blueprints of the Federal Bank more closely. Did you find anything interesting? There's a lot of weakness in the building itself. Not a whole lot of security breaches. This indeed is a very well protected bank. But it's a good thing I'm an inventor. Wait, you're an inventor? Did you think I bought my gear at the local Walmart? Or some support gear? Why would I pay for something I can make myself? I make all my gear. I could easily make something to help the heist. You should have said that earlier. We could get you anything you need. You there. Yes, sir. Get our friend here set up with a workshop in one of the buildings outside the manor. I know the perfect spot. That small building on the property. I want that converted into a workshop and collect all the supplies we have in storage. Just do it. Are you sure about that? Think nothing of it. Think of it as an investment. And I've been trying to free up some space in our warehouse. We hold a lot of pieces of technology resources that never been used. We're not losing much. Very well. Not even an hour later, when he showed Grimm the building that would be used as his workshop on the property, it was a large building. The first floor was converted into his workshop. Like a workshop was always there. Izuku examined everything. You work fast. The men were properly motivated. The rest of electronic supplies and other material should be here by tomorrow. But there should be enough for you to get started. Izuku examined several large crates filled with metal, electronics, and other material to create support gear or weaponry. This should be enough. This should be enough to start at least. Just keep me updated on your progress. I have some things I need to take care of. I'll leave it to you then, Grimm. Sure thing. This should keep me occupied. Leon left. Izuku rolled over a whiteboard and pulled it in the middle of the room, of the workshop, and began to write down ideas using a whiteboard marker to mark his progress. Then a burst of inspiration washed over him as he begins to design a blueprint of a robotic spider that would design to target the main security room and hack into their camera feeds of the Federal Bank. Izuku started immediately doing the legwork of this new invention he wants to create. He immediately went to work grabbing several pieces of technology and metal in the crates. Izuku uses natural enhanced strength to bend the metal into a shape, making spider legs. It's a starting cast for it. It's nowhere near completion, but it's a start. It took him several hours to complete the first few legs of the spider, smoothing out the metal with his physical strength. After he created a second set of spider legs, he made sure several inventions that were to cut through Bull's door and vault doors. He started to work on that project before continuing on his little spider invention. It only took him a couple hours to make several tools of that nature. He just placed the devices that will help to break through the vault door onto the table of the workshop that use highly condensed lasers to cut through metal. He tested a few of them to make sure they work properly on a thick metal sheet of solid steel. Once he was satisfied with the progress of the devices, he placed the devices on the side to continue on his work on his robotic spider. He needs to make it big enough to actually fit through the ventilation shaft, but not too small to be a non-threat if the spider come across any hostile people while going through the ventilation shaft. After several hours spent in the workshop working, Grimm finally took a break and stepped outside. I see you've been working hard. I just want to check up on you. Indeed, I've been working. I've been quite busy. This heist has proven to be most challenging. Not surprising, it's a very important bank after all. And the staff of the security are pretty much all ex-military. I noticed that in the intel. So what exactly you been working on exactly? Already made a device to be able to cut through the vault door. If any hostages try to play cute and lock the vault. And I'm still currently working on a project to deal with the security room and the cameras. It's just going to take me a little more time. Enough about work. You must be hungry. I brought food. They both sat down on the workshop table as she took the fast food and took it out of the bag. Empress briefly gazed at the robotic blueprints of the robotic spider. She noticed very sharp spider legs, metal spider legs, on the workshop table. It was quite peaceful atmosphere as they both ate in peace. Not even a moment when she was done eating, Empress got a phone call. She briefly stepped outside. A few minutes later, she walked back inside. We have a problem. Technically, I have a problem, but I could use the help. What's going on, Empress? Apparently, there's a new player on the board. A villain organization. I believe they call themselves the League of Villains. Trying to make a foothold here in America. Naturally, I wouldn't care. But several of my men were found dead. They're purposely targeting my people on my territory, and I will not allow such disrespect to be unanswered. Enough said, Empress. This partnership has been most beneficial. I'm more than willing to kill anyone that finds themselves standing in your way. Good, because it's probably not going to be easy. Apparently, Muscular was with them, alongside with his sister. Funny how that works. We could kill two birds with one stone. What do we know about this League of Villains, exactly? Not much. They're a villain organization from Japan that is ruled by some boogeyman called All for One. Let's go. Leon is probably waiting for us to start the meeting. Izuku gave Empress a nod and acknowledgement and followed her to the main house, the large manor on the property. They eventually got into the large meeting room where there are several key members of the Empress gang, Leon included. Sit down, everyone. Izuku sat down. All right, Leon, what do we have so far? Not much, boss. They walked into our territory, killed a few of our people, then left. They're still somewhere in the city. Muscular and his psychotic sister took point on the attack. At least that's what several of the survivors said. It is not common knowledge that Grimm has been working with us. I believe they're still unaware he's even here, otherwise they would have been a lot more eager to seek our death. I would have to agree. Our new friend here did steal a lot of merchandise from him, and we're selling them off for money. What do you think, Grimm? I believe Leon is correct. They're unaware of my involvement with your group, otherwise there would be far more dead bodies. And the fact that I stole his merchandise and begin to sell it, I have a feeling he won't appreciate that very much. That means either they were originally already a member of this League of Villains, or they were recently recruited while they were in the city. There's still a lot of unknown factors if the League is legitimate, they would have more just a musclehead and a psychotic sister as a enforcer. How many witnesses? Not many were left alive. Only a few of our men were managed to survive. And I saw the video footage of Muscular and his sister. If there's another intruder, they covered our tracks. No matter which way you look at it, when we finally act, they'll definitely catch attention. Agree, any fight between two separate villain factions will definitely get the attention of the police department or any nearby heroes that come across the information, but I can't allow them to walk over my people in my territory. As a leader, that can't be tolerated. I want them dealt with. We'll focus on the opponents we know, Muscular and his sister. I'll handle Muscular. I'm best suited to take him on. That only leaves Apex, Leon. You're gonna take care of her. Got it, boss. Good, the bank heist is postponed until the immediate threat is dealt with. Alright everyone, get some sleep. I bet tomorrow is going to be quite a busy day. I'll be taking my leave. See you all tomorrow. I got a few things I need to take care of on my end. Very well. I'll see you tomorrow then, Grin. Keep your phone handy, just in case. Got it, Empress. Izuku left shortly afterwards through a shadow portal, as he has to maintain his appearance. After going back to his base of operation, put on his civilian clothes, and went back to his house to maintain his cover as a normal law-abiding citizen, to make sure his mother doesn't get too suspicious. She's already suspicious enough. Izuku is currently eating dinner on the dinner table with his mother. The Bakugo family has already left a few weeks ago, so it's just him and his mother eating dinner. His father is currently at work. I notice you've been gone more recently, son. I've been quite busy. Doing what exactly, my dear? I've been learning about robotics. Izuku wasn't lying completely. He has been learning more, but he didn't tell his mother that he had prior knowledge, so he kept that to himself. Inka knew her son wasn't being completely honest with her, but she didn't call him out on it. She gave her usual warm smile and dropped the subject for now. The rest of the evening for the Midoriyas weren't interrupted. After dinner, Izuku went to bed and woke up the next morning doing his normal routine before school. It is currently Friday, so he has the whole weekend to continue his work on his invention after he deals with the current problem with the League. His time at school was peaceful, no interruptions. The moment school was done, he looked over a few of the documents. He is still on his desk. He's still the school council president for his grade. There was no special events, so he left briefly early after school ended. Nothing's been happening in the school for a few months, so he has a light workload. He went directly to his base of operation, got dressed into his villain gear, then left to go to the manor by opening a shadow portal. Appearing just outside the gate of the boundaries of the property of the manor were two armed guards. Knew who he was. They merely opened the gate for him. He walked through without no trouble. Not even 3 steps into the property line, human-sized black portals or purple portals appeared all over the property, including right in front of Izuku, as low-tier villains from Japan came running out of the warp gate. As a savage grin formed onto Izuku's face, watching the first wave of villains approach, and he did not wait for any invitations. He immediately blitzed forward, jumping into the middle of the air and landing a handstand under the first villain's shoulder, then leap off of his shoulder and cut his head off in mid-flip with his dagger, without even looking at the villain. As he pulled the twin dagger into his opposite hand, Izuku moved like a specter around all the different villains coming out of the warp gate. Izuku showed them no mercy and started killing them unabated, with a vicious grin on his face. No matter what quirk they used, Izuku easily countered it. He had plenty of time to study quirks, so he knows how to combat them. And he found these quirks that these villains were using to be laughable. Even the more devastating ones among them were completely using their quirk wrong, so he naturally cut them down by appearing in front of them by a flash step and dove his dagger into their chest, piercing the heart, and calmly yanked out his daggers out of their chests and walked past the 2 villains that he just killed. A second later, the villains dropped to the floor dead as more villains came out of the warp gate. With a single snap of his fingers, the second wave of villains found themselves facing large floating dragon-like skulls. As the skulls opened their mouths and charged up a pure green energy, then it fired like a cannon, completely vaporizing the second wave of villains. When the beam of energy receded, there was only a cold, chilling silence. Even the third wave of villains stopped after witnessing a large number of their fellow villains being eradicated, like they were mere pests that infested someone's home. The silence was finally broken by Izuku himself. Excellent. There's more of you. Meanwhile, Zelik was harvesting the souls of these villains that Izuku killed one by one, absorbing their source of their very souls, adding to his drained and depleted power. Izuku started to circle around the third wave of villains like a predator that's about to pounce on its prey. You see, boys, I don't really care why you're attacking, but you shouldn't have come here. I can't have you guys ruining what I got going on here. Killing my business partner, so unfortunately, none of you will survive. Nothing personal, just business. Izuku flash-stepped. He moved so fast under the villains, could really keep track of his movements. Then suddenly, Izuku appeared right behind them, with both of his daggers covered in blood, dripping onto the ground. The villains didn't even realize they were already dead before it was too late. As their heads began to drop from their bodies, one after another, then their bodies followed shortly afterwards. The warp gate in front of them finally closed. Izuku could continue on his way, going further into the boundaries of the manor. He sees familiar warp gates scattered all around, some small, some bigger, as there is a whole group of villains fighting members of Empress's people. Izuku noticed Empress herself was engaging in a small group of villains, completely dominating them with her red lightning, flying through the air like an electric net. As a more larger warp gate appeared, as a well-dressed figure came walking out of the warp gate, wearing a fine suit, tailored suit. The unknown figure seemed to be made out of black smoke. As Kirigiri stepped through his own warp gate, greetings, as he gave Izuku a gentleman bow. I'm Kirigiri, member of the League of Villains. Unfortunately, my visit here isn't so pleasant. My leader, my boss, my master, wants Empress and her people removed from the board. After all, we need a location to establish ourselves here in America. And unfortunately, you all have to die. I do apologize in advance. That's pretty bold words for whoever you are. Izuku moved so fast Kirigiri couldn't keep track as he swung his dagger across Kirigiri's face, only met with air as his dagger went through Kirigiri's head, going through the smoke. As Kirigiri returned his normal head to his normal shape, Izuku narrowed his eyes briefly, then a gentle smile that had no gentleness behind it began to form on his face. Intriguing. Immensely intriguing. Izuku placed his daggers into their holsters and charged forward, swinging his fist. Swinging his fist, Kirigiri opened a fist-sized warp gate. As a similar warp gate appeared right in front of Izuku, as his own fist slammed into his own face, sending Izuku skidding backwards. Despite being hit by his own attack, he had a massive grin on his face, wiping the blood from with his forearm. As Muscular finally made his appearance through the battle, stepping out of a warp gate, immediately locking eyes with Grim, or Izuku. With a vicious smile on his face, he immediately charged forward. Kirigiri stood back and watched the clash. He heard from Muscular and his sister, Apex, that there was a new villain in America that goes by Grim. And it didn't take him long to pinpoint that this villain that they describe is the person that attacked him. So he decided to watch the performance. Muscular got into striking range and decided to test the waters using a normal punch. Most villains or heroes can't handle his normal punches, using the muscle fibers in his arms to make him throw a more powerful punch without increasing his arm size or his fist. He's barely tapping into his quirk to see how well he could take a punch. Going full on with his quirk would end things too quickly, and he doesn't want to do that. It'll be no fun, completely obliterating his opponent first, and he needs to pay him back for stealing his shit. But despite that, he had a cocky grin on his face. Izuku clearly waited for Muscular. The moment he saw Muscular make his first move, he met his fist with his own. The moment Muscular's and Izuku's fists collided, the ground beneath them began to sink slightly from the impact of their fists colliding with each other, generating a small amount of wind pressure. Nice, very nice. My sister said you were good. Ah, you mean Apex? Yeah, she is quite persistent. Think she has a crush on me. Muscular only laughed. You don't know the half of it, kid. She's she's very persistent when she wants something. But enough about that. Let's see what you got. Izuku threw out a second punch, using the punch as a feint, then slammed a spinning kick across Muscular's face, sending him flying into a tree. Izuku is clearly taking his time. He hasn't even used much of his strength in that last attack. He's not even using his boost form yet. He's testing the waters. He actually hasn't activated in real combat yet, outside of training. Not that one time he was in Cerberus server, when he awoken that specific skill in the first place. Once Muscular hit the tree, he shook off the cobwebs in his head. The big tree was cracked, but not broken. The trunk of the tree cracked from his impact from hitting it, but the tree still remained strong and stopped Muscular from going through it. He eventually got up to his feet. The tree was severely cracked, but mostly intact. Muscular casually walked up, rubbing the side of his face where he got kicked. Muscular wasn't expecting a feint like that. That led into a spin kick across his face, but his grin only increased. Muscular is clearly experienced, so he's been around for a bit, so he knows when a opponent is testing the waters. And he's doing that the exact same thing. Muscular and Izuku blitz towards each other and begin to exchange blows with each other as punches and kicks fly between them, some missing, some made solid hits. But both villains only step backwards a few steps. This entire exchange of punches and kicks were pretty intense, and they're using a little bit of their strength, not going full force. Izuku's far more faster than Muscular, so it wasn't hard for him to land several more devastating hits than Muscular could land on him. Muscular has strength going for him. It's clearly evident from their little exchange. He's far more stronger when it comes to physical strength than Izuku. Eventually, Muscular was forced to leap backwards and skid to a stop from the last devastating assault that Grim unleashed upon Muscular. Izuku covered his fists with an outer layer of bone over his fingers and knuckles. As he flushed up, appeared in the middle of the air, above Muscular. Muscular clearly isn't stupid. He has intelligence, not much, but he does have intelligence. Managed to roll out of the way when his opponent disappeared from his flash step. When Izuku's bone-coated fist slammed into the ground, making a small earthquake, as spiderweb cracks begin to form on the solid ground. That's one terrifying right Cookie got there, slugger. I'm no greenhorn. You're holding back. I could say the same thing about you, musclehead. You're not wrong there, kid. Judging by the bones on your fist, you have bone manipulation quirk, possibly. How fascinating. I've never killed anyone with a bone quirk before, so this would be a new experience for the both of us. Unfortunately, you're going to have a hard time accomplishing such a feat. I tend to not die easy. I would be disappointed if you did, kid. Show me more. Their conversation ended as they both rushed towards each other. Each punch, each kick collided with each other, became faster, stronger. From their small exchange. Meanwhile, Kirigiri was observing. He narrowed his glowing yellow eyes at the display of power he's witnessing from this American villain. He could clearly see there's something different about him. Strong. Someone with a bone quirk should not be that physically strong, and yet it's happening right in front of his yellow eyes. Kirigiri is not oblivious that his surprise attack will not go in the League's favor. Their numbers are already drastically decreasing at an alarming rate. And the battle between Muscular and this villain called Grim is only increasing in power. So he made a decision to withdraw. Noticing a fresh batch of reinforcements from the Empress side of the opposite force, Kirigiri created and stepped through a warp gate and appeared right next to Muscular. What is it, Cloudy? Things are starting to get good. We're leaving. Are you fucking serious? We're finally getting to the fun part. The plan needs to be restructured. Factors need to be put in. I wasn't expecting this Grim to be this interesting. Leaving already? Trust me, kid, I don't want to, but I have my orders. And arguing with the boss would be not wise. Even I am not that crazy. Don't worry, we'll continue this at a later date. What a shame. Tell your sister I said hi. Muscular couldn't help but laugh at the balls of the kid. She'll definitely get a kick out of that. Sure thing, kid. Muscular stepped through the warp gate without a second word. Kirigiri activated several warp gates for a full retreat of his remaining forces. This is where we part ways. For now. But I do apologize for the inconvenience. Have a good day. As he disappeared in his own warp gate. And that's where we're going to stop it. I'll catch you guys in the next part.